We're on Facebook Live right now, I guess, right, team? Yes, we're good. And through Facebook, you can, I guess, submit questions. That's also accurate. In terms of questions, you're going to have all these speakers here. We ask that you take notes, and we wait until the very end to ask your questions. Okay, so kind of take a note and say, I want to make sure I ask Al something. I want to ask Brian. Take a note. I'm going to wait till the very end to do that. I encourage you to tweak your brains out if you want to. Have your phone in your hand, Facebook, tweet, do whatever you want to do. Tell people you're here. We would welcome that because this is a great event. We want everybody to know. Facebook Live, I said all that. Roll all your questions to the end. I think I hit everything. David, anything else that I should be saying? We're good to go. Then let's start right out. Our first speaker is Al Litzy. And Al is a friend, so I'm really rooting for him. Al, come on up, man, and do your thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marty. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and taking time out of their busy day to be here. I'd like to thank the Think Center for having us. As Marty said, I'm Al Litzy. I'm president of FiberTel Inc. FiberTel was founded in the year 2000, so it's an exciting time coming up for us because we're going to be celebrating 20 years in business. FiberTel is a structure cabling company. So what is structure cabling? It's the term used for the proper installation of communications cabling. So I'm going to discuss a couple different types of communications cable and fiber optic cable that's used for structure cabling. So we have category copper cable, and we have fiber optic cable that's used. So both are used to support many different types of systems, including like wireless access, which everybody's probably connected to right now. Their phones are connected to the internet. That's supported by some type of category rating cable. So it's also used to support computers, phones, security cameras, video, some building systems such as HVAC, fire alarm, and other building systems. So our first type of category cable that I want to discuss is Cat5e. So Cat5e, follow along with the slides. I'm not going to read all that. But it's the most cost-effective cable out there today that's used. It's the most common one we see. It's supporting data and voice applications and supports security cameras and those other systems that I mentioned. It was originally to support up to 1 gig of speed. The next cable we're going to discuss, the Category 6, and when Category 6 came out, it was very costly. The cost has come down, and it's more economical to use now. And with Category 6, you could get more bandwidth and pass more speed through Category 6 than you can with Cat5e. So it can support up to 10 gigs, but it's limited on the distance for 10 gig up to about 55 meters. So our next one that we're going to discuss is Cat6a. Cat6a is just an advanced Cat6. It's designed to transmit 10 gigs, and it could carry more bandwidth than Cat5e and Cat6. So we see a lot of the Cat6 being installed now in schools and the education environments. all these copper cables are limited by distance. So the industry standard is about 90 meters, about 295 feet is their limitations. So they all have the same characteristics. If you saw on the slides, they're all a round cable. They all have twisted pairs. They all have the same color code. But what distinguishes them is their twist in the pairs gives it their category rating. And the Cat 5e has a twist. I'm not sure the distance, but Cat 6 has a tighter twist. Cat 6a has even a tighter twist. The differences between the Cat 6 and the Cat 6a are they have a separator in the cable that separates those pairs to help prevent crosstalk and interference between the pairs as the signals run through the cable. So with the Cat 5e to the Cat 6 and Cat 6a, Cat 5e is kind of going away. We really aren't using or recommending to install Cat 5e to any of our clients when we go out. Cat 6 or Cat 6a is more economical, and it's able to support today's new networks, software, media, and the upgrades for network equipment. So FiberTel's certified from a couple of manufacturers, and under those manufacturers we're allowed to give manufacturer warranties for the structured cabling systems. So we use a certified tester to test these cables when we're done installing them to make sure that they meet the speeds, the performance, and they're properly installed and compliant. Next I'm going to talk about fiber optic cable. So fiber optic cable we mostly use in backbone installations for long haul. They do have the ability for carrying a lot of bandwidth and transmitting high speeds. So they're both multi-mode and single-mode fiber are constructed of glass. The outer glass is a cladding, and the inner glass is a core, and it's solid glass. So the light pulses travel down the core of each fiber, and that's how the signals are transmitted. So the two different types of fiber, single mode and multi-mode. With single mode, what distinguishes them is single mode has a smaller core. It's about 8 to 10 microns. It's very small. And it's capable of transmitting a single signal at one time. A single light pulse could travel down the fiber at one time. With the multi-mode, multiple signals could transmit down the fiber at one time. And there's different grades of multi-mode. So just to explain the different grades, there's an OM1 cable. It's a lower grade. It's been out for many years. The core size is 62.5, so it's a lot larger than the single mode. And it's limited when we come to our 10 gig applications. So when you're trying to transmit high speed, you're limited to the distance that multi-mode could be used in a run. You get into the next step for multi-mode would be OM2. We don't use a lot of OM2. That was a fiber that came out, and it just didn't seem to pick up or do much difference for capacities of bandwidth or speed. So OM3 and OM4 are more designed for your high-speed internet, your high-speed traffic from your networks, and you could achieve 10 gigs with both, transmit a lot of bandwidth, but they're both limited by distance also. So it has to be properly designed in your network for those, so that you're not exceeding your distance limits and not able to achieve your bandwidth and your speeds that you're trying to meet. With the single mode we see in a lot of long distance, long haul applications. Both fibers are used where your copper cables are limited. So when your copper cables are limited by the distance, and if you could imagine a multi-story building with multiple closets, those closets would be tied together with the fiber optic cable. Another example is campus environment. So if you have like a college campus, a school, a corporate environment where you need to connect those systems, we connect them with fiber optic cable to make one network. So when we install fiber optic cable, we test it with an OTDR. An OTDR is an optical time domain reflectometer. So this piece of equipment sends a pulse of light down the fiber, and it reads the reflection coming back. So it verifies that the fiber is compliant, it was installed properly, it meets the standards for the applications. So based on today's technology and evolving technology, and the more need for speed as you upgrade your network equipment, and more bandwidth is needed with that equipment and softwares, the applications for Cat6, Cat6A, or the 10 gig applications for the fiber are required. So most of the projects that FiberTel's working on is upgrading existing Cat5e with Cat6 cable or Cat6A, and installing fiber optic cable. So if you spend a little extra money now to upgrade and be compliant in the future and be future-proof, you actually save money in the long run. So if you have, if you want to know more information about how to design your cable plan or your cable installation for structured cabling, we're here at the table. Feel free to come and see us. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was Al Litzy, Littzi. You can find him on LinkedIn and I think just about everywhere else.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And he did talk about properly cabling your business for the future. Hopefully you wrote some notes. What are you up here to do something or? Oh, okay. So
security.
This is, yeah, take me out of here. This is Michael Pickering, and he is with Tech 42. And I hope you're going to talk about the significance of updating your network equipment.
Well, that's what they told me I had to talk about,
Michael,
Marty, so I'll try to keep it to just that. My name is, as Marty said, my name is Michael Pickering. I am the owner and president of Tech 42. We are a managed and co-managed IT solutions provider. We've been in business for about 9 years, and we provide IT solutions to small and medium-sized businesses. I've been doing IT since I was about 14 years old, and my dad realized I was pretty good at fixing our home computer when it got broke, mostly because I couldn't play my most recent video game, and started farming me out to his work friends when their computers broke. Not sure about the implications of child labor laws there, but it was an early start into IT, and I really, really love technology and IT, and I've been doing it ever since. One of the other things that I really, really enjoy doing is I love cars. I love driving, I love going fast, and I tell you that mostly so that you realize I'm not purely a geek. I do have a little bit of personality. But I recently got to drive a Ferrari for the first time in my life. It was kind of a life goal. My wife and children bought me a extreme supercar experience for my birthday this year. So last Friday, I went out and got to climb into a Ferrari 458 Italia, and I won't tell you how fast it went, but it was sweet. But it made me start thinking about how new is sometimes important in all the things we do. And I was curious here today, like if just, because I like interactivity, like you guys, I want to make sure you guys aren't falling asleep. This can get really dry and boring. How many people are driving a car today that is less than 10 years old? Less than 10 years old. All right, almost every hand in here. How about, let's try this, let's try it again. How many people in here are driving a car that is less than 5 years old? Almost everybody in here is raising their hand again. So good, we're in the right room. So how many of you are either yourself or in your business still using Windows 7? I got 1 hand, 2 hands, 3 hands, about half a dozen hands. So, because what I want to let you know this morning is Windows 7 is going to be 10 years old next month. And so happy birthday to Windows 10. But the sad part about it, or probably the exciting part about it, depending on what your perspective is Windows 7 is going away. It's dead. It's coming up on what they call end of life, which basically means Microsoft says we're not supporting it anymore. We're not creating upgrades for it. We're not creating patches for it. We're not going to support it. It is going away. And so one of the things that we're trying to make sure that people are aware of is the importance of making sure that you're completely off of Windows 10 across your environment. What does that mean? What does end of life mean? Well, it means a couple things. Not only is it not going to support you anymore, or Microsoft won't support you, but they're not going to be supporting your line of business application and your hardware vendors. So that piece of software that you use to run your business, keep track of your customers, do your billing, no more updates for that. The printers and stuff, other things that you use to run your business, no more updates for that. And this is important. Really, really important. Some people say, well, why does that matter? Hey, everything I have right now works. It works well. Nothing's broken. But even in the first 9 days of June, Microsoft released over a dozen security patches for Windows 7. Areas in the code that they found that there was problems, stuff that was broken, vulnerabilities that were discovered, that were all released within the first 9 days of June. And every month, Microsoft releases a grouping of security patches to protect this software. As of next January, that's done. They're not doing that anymore. So if mid-January into January 2020, there's a major vulnerability discovered in Windows 7 where hackers can come right waltzing in, or malware, it's susceptible to a certain type of malware, you're out on your own if you're still running Windows 7. It's not getting patched, it's not getting fixed, you are vulnerable. So this becomes a very big item of concern to you and to your business. And the reason I asked about cars and kind of the age of your cars, because most of us wouldn't even think about driving a car that's more than 10 years old. We're concerned about reliability. We're concerned about safety. We're concerned about being able to get to work in the morning, to get home to our families at the end of the day. So we spend the money, we invest the money in the vehicle that we know is going to carry us back and forth, it's going to keep us safe. The problem is so many times businesses, it's not in front of them, they don't see it, they don't feel like they're climbing into a vehicle every day that's got a little rust on it, so they don't replace computers. And they don't upgrade operating systems. And just as vulnerable, or maybe even more vulnerable than you become in a vehicle that's aging and rusting and getting wear on it, your computers and your technology are very much doing the same thing. And so that's a little bit what I want to talk to you today about, the importance of the significance of updating network equipment. Now, I recently attended a security brief as well, and it was interesting because they were quoting some statistics where they said that Windows 10 is twice as secure as Windows 7. And there was a couple reasons for that. One is because that they found out is because it's patched more frequently. And apparently people that are more proactive and have spent the money to update their computers are also focusing on getting patches on their computers in a timely manner, which is absolutely vitally important to security in your network, to make sure that you're getting patches and that you're getting patches. I've had a number of customers over the years saying, well, hey, Microsoft, they automatically install patches. I got this thing that says right on my computer. The problem with that is sometimes those patches fail. And if one patch fails, no more patches install. And so we've walked into environments a number of times where say, oh yeah, we've got automatic patching set up. Windows automatically updates itself. And then we find half a dozen computers in there that haven't updated in the last 3 years because one patch failed and all the rest got backed up behind it. So it's got to be monitored, but it's super, super important. And so Windows 10 is where you really want to be. The cost of compromise. I put this down as one of my slide notes, and my sales and marketing team did exactly what I hoped for. They each had 2 different perspectives on this, and one said, "Oh no, that's got to be about what it costs if you get hacked or if your network gets compromised," and the other one said, "No, it's the cost of if they're making compromising choices in their business." And they asked me which one was right, and I nodded and said, yes. Because here's what happens in business. Most security events that happen in business, so you get hacked, you get ransomware, you get a virus, you get malware, you get crypto-jacked, which is the thing that's off the charts right now, and I'll talk about in a moment. It happens because you first compromised on a business decision. You said, you know what, I'm not going to spend the money right now to upgrade, or this stuff can last a little bit longer, it can last 1 more year or 2 more years. And rather than upgrading and getting current technology that was secure, technology that you could depend on to get you in and out of work every day, you say, no, I'm gonna wait. And you make a compromising decision based on cost. But the cost of compromise, of making that wait decision, often leads to this guy over here. And believe me, there's teams of that guy over there. There's teams out of the Far East. There's teams out of South America. There's teams out of Russia that are just trying to compromise computers. And I hear all the time, the other thing that's here, well, Mike, my data is boring, right? Nobody wants to hack my business. Nobody wants my data. It's irrelevant. And I look them in the eye and I kind of swallow and say, yeah, you're right. Your data is boring. Like, I don't even want to know what your data is. The problem is these hackers, these guys, these malicious actors have figured out your data has value to somebody, and that somebody is you. So a number of years ago, they got really smart and started developing these pieces of ransomware or malware called ransomware that basically, once they get into your computer, they don't steal your information, they encrypt your information. And if you want your data back, if you want to get to it, you got to pay a fine or a fee to them to give you the code to unlock it. And that's an extremely costly. But in the recent years, they discovered, hey, you guys are figuring this out. We got to do a new thing. So now they're doing what they call cryptojacking, and they're not stealing your data, they're not encrypting your data, they're stealing your processor time, and they're installing little pieces of software in there that do this thing called bit mining, right? And bit mining isn't even worth your effort to do. But if a hacker can get 20 or 30 or 100 computers doing it for them, they're using your power and your CPU, unbeknownst to you, to basically mine digital currency for them and eating up CPU cycles and productivity of your employees. So what does old technology mean for business? I'm going to kind of skim through some of this. The performance differential. One of the first things we do in any of our engagements, we come in and we assess where you're at as a company, what your IT looks like, and we do a return on investment assessment. We look and say, hey, what is your current technology not just doing for you, but what is it costing you in where you could be with new technology? And what is that performance differential? How much more efficient, more stable, more productive could your staff be with new technology? And then we look at the loss of productivity. You pay every one of your people in your business, every one of your employees has a salary, an hourly rate that can be calculated. Here's how much their time costs. And if a computer takes twice as long to do something as it could take with newer technology, you're flushing money right down the drain, right? So that's where there's a loss of value in the technology, and where the cost of making compromising technology decisions is actively costing your business money today. And then, of course, increased support costs. It takes people like me or your IT department increasingly more effort and increasingly more dollars to secure those devices, to fix those devices, to keep those devices up and running, than what it would cost for a newer device. Again, just adding to the cost of compromise. So the moral of the story is, and originally they had a bunch of bullets here, and I said, no, it's perfect, Tech 42, that's the moral of the story. The couple things I just want to bring it home with is upgrading technology isn't just a spend in your business. Upgrading your technology is really upgrading your business, right? And everybody out here, you all told me how you upgrade your cars periodically. I'm sure if I did the same question, everybody out here has a recently new smartphone in your pocket, right? You wouldn't dream of having a smartphone that was 10 years old. You certainly wouldn't dream of having a flip phone. But somehow with technology, you know, our computers, our networks, and if you've got Windows 7 in your environment, I can only imagine you got a 10-year-old operating system, you might have a 15 or 20-year-old firewall standing sentry on your network trying to protect you from all this bad stuff out there, and you're not even aware of it. But upgrading your technology is very really upgrading your business. You'll save on both expenses while allowing you to be more efficient and profitable. You know, I understand that upgrading technology is expensive, and every time I sit down with a customer, they look at the dollar amount and say, wow, that's a lot of money. And you know, I don't know how to afford that, and I get it. I run a small business, and that's why we've worked really, really hard to develop strategies to wrap around these kind of upgrades, these kind of migrations, to really help you develop a plan that both streamlines your IT, helps you get into a place of security where you know your network's going to get you back and forth to work every day. It's going to do all of what you need to do, and make it so that it's affordable in a very real way, and not necessarily in a lump sum, but we can spread it out over time. And so the moral of the story is take a serious look at making sure you guys are up to date, you're current with your technology, because that's everything in IT. Thank you very much.
I'm just announcing it now that I'm part of his sales team. So if you need any upgrades, come. I'm just kidding. Michael's over there. David's part of his team. Great job. Tech 42. You can find them on social media, reminding everybody we're Facebook Live. And pardon me? There is. Well, we want to hold that to the end, though. Good. All right. Hey, I'm just following instructions, don't you know? So, hey, next one, you don't look like Karen.
No.
No.
Karen is a little under the weather.
Yeah, okay. So, Gaia Communications is with us.
George Monahan.
And that's George, and we're going to talk about types of phone systems available today. So, George, come on up, and again, write down your questions that you might have, okay? Got it.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. Just real quick, this is more an information thing. It's not a Guyette sales pitch, but the company itself was founded in 1947. We're a communication company. We do voice communications. We take care of schools, hospitals, and nurse call systems, intercom paging systems in schools. So we have a diverse line of products out there and available today. And what I wanted to just speak about today was pretty much what's out there in the phone system world. You know, a lot of these things we're accustomed to already. The fact that mobility has really entered into the business phone system, where you really don't have to be in the office anymore. You can simply have an app on your smartphone. I used a tablet as a, so it's bigger, but that's your office phone. So we can be anywhere. We don't have to be at the office. We can literally be anywhere. So those are technologies and things like that. The other thing that's happened is there's been the introduction of cloud or hosted phone systems into the market. And that's where I want to touch today. What does that technology mean? Is it good for you? And what benefits does it have for you? Oh, you got lost. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay. There's all these acronyms out there, right? UCaaS. That's basically a modern phone system. UC as a service. SaaS is software as a service. Voice over IP. And I'm going to mainly touch on this voice over IP and premise versus cloud discussion today. So, does voice over IP mean your phone on the internet? Not necessarily. When you see the letter IP, and this is oversimplifying it, but kind of think of that as your network. We have IP cameras. They aren't necessarily connected to the internet, okay? We have IP phones. We have IP access control. Everything in the infrastructure of a business is moving over to that network. And basically what it means is we're taking voice and we're putting it on the data network, okay? So you can have a voice over IP system with your system or your server inside the building, which is called premise. That's what's been known now as a premise system. You have IP phones, you plug them all into your network, you plug in the server locally, and you have a premise-based system. On the cloud side, you basically take that server and move it out of state, move it out of wherever, move it out of your office. It is then shared by multiple companies, and then you deliver your phone system that way. That's the biggest difference between premise and cloud. Now, when you talk about cloud, there's two distinct applications, right? There's data applications and there's voice applications. I'm not even going to touch on data. I just want to let you know. Obviously, there's a distinct difference there. We have cloud storage. These are all data applications that I'm really not going to talk about. It's becoming the de facto way to do things, right? You use Microsoft Office, you pay the monthly fee, you get your email, you get all your Office suite updated automatically, and it's a done deal. You don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about if I have Excel this or, any of the older stuff. It's just done, pay the monthly fee, and it's a done deal. So, cloud phone systems, what are the advantages? Well, you pay as you go. You add features as you need them. You want to do recording someday. You just go online, log in, add recording. Your monthly bill goes up, it's done, it's finished, it's there. It's flexible, scalable. You want to upsize or downsize, you just add phones, delete phones. And it has an operating expense predictable cost. Basically, it's going to be about the same fee every single month. It's an operating expense, it's not a capital expense. It's there, pay the fee every month, just like your data applications and your stuff works. Mobility, I just talked about those things. They're available in premise and cloud. And then disaster recovery. What's a great solution for cloud? Wilkes-Barre. You get a flood or a threat of a flood, pick up your phones and go somewhere where you have internet. Plug your phones in, they work. So you can get temporary space, you're mobile, you can get out of a certain area and get to another area quickly. Reliability becomes the big question. So what you would see from most of the cloud providers, they're going to show you this fancy, we have geo-redundant servers all over the country and this and that, and everything works perfectly, and this is backed up and it's 99.99% effective. What they usually don't tell you is, that should flip. You're connected to there via the public internet. So you still have a single point of failure, right? You're still going to have your internet connection is down and your phones are down. So there are times when you want to look at cloud as a solution, and there's times when you don't want to look at cloud as a solution. But just remember the fact that no matter how redundant all this is, doesn't mean your phones are going to work 100% of the time. Chances are, eventually you're going to get poor audio quality, you could have some issues. The big thing here is testing your network before you jump into this endeavor. And there's stuff out there, we have stuff available to do that actually simulates calls over several weeks and let's say you had 30 phones. We would simulate 30 calls, we would leave it in, and then send you to MOS-Core, and then you could see what the quality of your network is before you went and deployed this. So, premise advantages. This is your on-system server. It is very reliable. It's worked for decades and decades and decades and decades. Now they have all the new features, all the new functions and things like that, but it is an extremely reliable way to do things. More features than cloud. That may surprise a lot of people. And let me give you a quick example. We sell NEC products. They have 4 premise-based systems to address the market. From small to large to niche items to applications and things like that. On the cloud side, they took one of their systems and made it their cloud product. So that now one has to fit all, instead of having specific products designed for specific markets. So you will tend to find that the pure old school kind of phone system features that you became accustomed to over the years, some of them actually go away. Now they're replaced with some other really great things, but just so you know that, don't automatically expect that everything is going to be better. Ease of operation, you own it, you don't have to rent it, and typically, unless you're a really small organization, it costs you less over time for a premise space. So, the questions become, is it good for me? Who are the best candidates for a cloud phone system? Number one is startups. No capital expense, pay a monthly fee, you're done, right? You just pay the monthly fee, and you're up and running. Seasonal businesses, they're great. Upscale, downscale. So you have a seasonal business, you're only going to be there for 4 or 5 months. Scale it up in the winter, scale it down in the summer. And also it's a very, very good solution for multi-location businesses or operations. If you're spread out, especially or across the country, it's a great solution there. There is also a hybrid approach where you could take the best of both worlds. Sometimes that's an application that you may want to look at. Our company, we have both, so we can offer you cloud, premise, or a hybrid, which is basically a mixture of the two, offering the advantages of both product into one mix. That is kind of a cloud arrangement where you would have one system here, but all this other stuff can be out in the cloud. Conferencing, collaboration, mobile solution, contact centers, but then all run also in complete conjunction with a premise-based system. So that in essence is, a quick overview, 30,000 foot look at what's available out there today. That's about all I have. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, George. Valiant Communications, excellent. Hopefully you're writing down questions, because we're reminding you, we can ask questions at the end, and Facebook, hopefully you're sending in questions, and we can answer.
Get off all our phones there.
And next we have Rebecca, and she's with Top Business Solutions. You're going to talk about office automation solutions, right?
I am.
All right, let's get automated.
Thanks very much, Marty. So good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. At Top Business Solutions, we're super excited to be part of today's expo, and wanted to just take a minute to kind of give a shout out to the Chamber, to all the folks who work so hard, Dave Abdalla at Tech 42, Lindsay, everyone that brought this together and made it such a great event. Thanks very much. So I wanted to start today just kind of giving you a little bit of background about Top Business Solutions, who we are and what we do. So we are a business automation company, and we've been serving the region for more than 60 years. We provide both hardware and software solutions that help organizations to start to streamline their business processes. Today we're going to talk about office automation solutions in particular. So now office automation solutions have a lot of benefits, and they help us to streamline our business processes, but also in addition to that, to remove bottlenecks and to also increase efficiency and productivity and to reduce costs. So by reducing those costs, have a positive impact on your organization's bottom line. Now, all these different benefits that I'm talking about, they also impact content and document management when it's done well, impacts almost every facet of an organization. So every department that has digital files, paper files, whatever the case may be, benefits from content and document management. So obviously that's probably every department you can think of throughout your organizations. Some popular areas that are hit and impacted the most are things like order processing, accounts payable, accounts receivable, even HR processes, maybe your onboarding processes or your employee paperwork, account reviews and those sorts of things. So a lot of different areas that can be impacted by the processes through your organization. So at Top Business Products, we have a lot of different office automation solutions. Today we're going to focus on two in particular. We're going to talk about scan and capture solutions, and we're also going to talk about enterprise content management, which is also called ECM. So before we get into too many specifics, I wanted to kind of just stop for a moment and talk about reality. I want to talk about the experiences that we have every day in our office environment. So I want you all to think about, so how does your organization manage data and files? Think about how those files and how that data, how does it move through your organization? How is it stored? How is it retrieved? And then while you're thinking about it, I want to ask you some questions. So have you ever gone looking for a file? Maybe you went looking in a shared drive. So, who here, show of hands, has a shared folder or shared network drive that folks sort of just kind of dump things to? So at least half the hands went up. So it's kind of everybody's dirty little secret. Nobody wants to admit that they have it. Maybe there's some naming conventions. Maybe there's some file folder structure. Maybe not. Maybe folks are paying attention and kind of cleaning it out as they're dumping things in, or maybe there's stuff there that goes back months or years, and it can be kind of tricky to find things. What about if you have remote offices and there's a hard copy, there's some sort of document that you need access to on a regular basis? What about that active document? So those different sorts of situations that drive the revenue through your organization. Things like order processing, things having to do with sales processing, or accounts payable and accounts receivable. Who has that active document? Who's got the information at every step of the process? And is it moving through the process in a timely fashion? Or are you wasting time, money, and resources kind of chasing down where it is every step of the way? And then what if something you need to retrieve that maybe has been stored for some reason? So is it in a file cabinet in the next room? Or is it in a file box, maybe halfway through or at the back of some storage facility? And how long will it take you to go and retrieve it and find it? And will you be able to retrieve it? So consider, it costs up to $250 to reproduce a lost document. And then also consider that 7.5% of all paper documents are lost. What if the document was irreplaceable? What then? Accounts receivables is one of the most vulnerable points for an organization. Is the most difficult to replicate. Often cannot be replicated once lost. And that's just one point of weakness for many organizations. And of course, there's cost to keeping all these things safe. So whether it's a paper document, whether it is an electronic file, there's a cost to keeping things secure and safe and backed up in case of any kind of natural disaster or untimely event. And then how about retention policies? How long do we keep documents? How long do we have to keep them? Is there some sort of compliance we need to adhere to? And how do we trigger things within our system that alerts us automatically? How do we have these workflows built in that tell us when it's time to purge files or dump paper files? And then how do we know what's been done? What kind of confirmation do we get? And how do we automate that process? So there's additional costs to store paper. Some of you may have considered it, maybe not. So an actual file takes up space. Get those papers lined up, they take up a file cabinet, transitions to a storage box, right? So it literally takes resources, it takes footprint, real estate in order to store these documents. There's also the cost to protect the documents. So whether it is a paper document or file, there's a cost to keep them secure. And also, when it's time to destroy them, making sure and confirming that they've been destroyed properly and that you are compliant with whatever regulations your industry is subject to. So a couple interesting points. It can cost $145 or close to that to destroy one box of documents. So think about all of the file cabinets you have in your organization. Maybe you have a storage room, storage facility, storage basement. It can really add up over time. 2/3 of all businesses cannot recreate their account receivable billing. And again, this is just one weakness, but it's a very common one in many organizations. So a lot of this can be overwhelming. So managing your company's processes and then getting your employees to adhere to those defined processes is another challenge. They're still sort of manual even when you put a process in place. And then, this was one of my favorites. So wondering, where is the important information? So if you have a process, let's say it's an order process, knowing where it is in that process. And everyone who needs to touch it, did they know where it is in the process? And is it moving along in a timely fashion? Or is something sitting either on Sue's desk or Mary Lou's desk, or maybe sitting in their inbox waiting for an approval and to be kicked on to the next stage? And how much money is that costing your organization because of those delays and folks not knowing where the important information is at any given time? And then of course there's actually maybe some penalties to having a poor process. Missing deadlines, being fined for non-compliance is a very real and serious issue that a lot of organizations face these days. So this is where content and document management come into play. So with content and document management, the first one we're going to talk about, as I had mentioned, is scan and capture solutions. So this is an easy way for an organization to start to get control over streamlining how their data flows through their organization. Has a lot of great benefits. It allows you to scan up into a lot of different repositories. So there's lots of different cloud apps that you can scan to. You can scan to email. You can even go to some CRMs such as Salesforce and so on. You also gain the benefit of an editable, searchable document, typically provided in a few different file formats. And it also enables mobile printing. So having all of this functionality and the ability to scan to different sort of cloud services, for instance, Dropbox, G Suite, Evernote, OneDrive, the list goes on. So you can scan into all of those repositories. You can also scan into cloud ECM, such as Office 365. You can scan into ERP systems, such as Concur, scanning into email. It enables mobile printing, and you can also scan into CRM software such as Salesforce. So all of these examples, though, are still considered what we call front-end solutions in our industry, meaning they're really focused on capturing the data and then storing it in a repository, which is great. It's an awesome way, and it's an easy way to start to streamline some of those processes. But it sort of doesn't do the whole job. So if you think about it, if it's just a front-end solution you're scanning and capturing, so great, your files are now digital. That's awesome. But your processes are not. So you may still be utilizing and relying on processes that are inefficient, unstandardized, and maybe still somewhat manual. So you're halfway there, and that's where Enterprise Content Management, or ECM, comes into play. So ECM takes us to the next level. So it allows an organization to really start to gain control over how data flows. It has a lot of the same features as a front-end scanning solution. It gives you that same OCR recognition, which gives you your editable files, gives you your searchable files. It also provides integration to a lot of different systems. Microsoft Office is one of the very popular ones. But then when it comes to business process workflows, this is where ECM really kind of stands apart from just a scanning and capturing solution. So an ECM solution allowing you these process workflows, including routing and notifications, is where you can really start to tie in the different departments within your organization and make sure that communication is increased and that you're decreasing human touch and human error. So you're decreasing those bottlenecks that can happen. It also allows you to automate forms processing. So you can standardize the forms themselves, the fields that are editable. These can be internal forms or external customer-facing forms as well. And there's a host of other benefits, records management. So we talked a little bit about your retention policies. You know, do we keep documents for 5 years, 7 years? And then who tells us when to delete them? I mean, is that Mary Sue's job that maybe she needs to, you know, kind of keep track of that? Or can we automate that process? So it automatically pops up, it's automatically addressed, and then we have documentation to support it if we need it for compliance issues. We can provide audit trails and version control as well. And there's also some other features such as redacting and so on. So depending upon your industry, we can really target what your needs are and make sure that these workflows hit those needs. And all of these solutions can be done either on-premise or via the cloud. So you have some flexibility there. So we all like to think that we're organized, right? So probably different pockets of organizations, folks have kind of maybe spearheaded some efforts and they've gotten some, you know, organization going in within departments. Maybe those departments are speaking and communicating well. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not as integrated or collaborative as they should be. And in reality, this is often what it looks like. We have pockets of organization, maybe by department, but it's really within an unorganized process. So imagine if you had a central point of contact, a central point of contact like ECM, which allows you to integrate all your systems and to provide a cohesive foundation for all of your business processes. So everything from capture and classify through to automating and distribution, and then long-term for search, retrieve, and storage. And again, so it hits every facet of an organization. Some popular ones, again, are order distribution, HR processes, sales processes, accounts payable, accounts receivables. Those are some of the top that we see. So in conclusion, content management, whether it's scan and capture or full enterprise content management, can definitely help to transform your business, help you to streamline your business processes, to help you remove bottlenecks, increase productivity, and reduce costs. So having a positive impact on your bottom line. And we're here today, we have a table, and we would love to talk to you some more after the show.
Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, speeding right along. Red Collar Bandit, Brian Bobek. Where are you, Brian? Right in front. He's going to talk about the importance of auditing your vendors. Interesting.
Thanks, Marty. Thanks, everybody. I hope we've made technology sexy today. If not, my friend Daniel's offered to come up and do some sexy poses while I give my speech. No, that's on. It's off the table. All right, well, hey, you owe me one now. So thank you, Collar Bandit. We're a consulting firm, and we look at auditing your vendors, not necessarily the vendors that spoke here today. They don't need any auditing, but we'll help you find the money to employ those vendors today to do their job. And so that's what I'm here to talk to you about. Collar Bandit's a consulting firm. We do a lot of different things. We do everything from debt restructuring, merger and acquisition, due diligence, contract negotiations. But we're here today to talk about expense reductions and expense analysis. We focus on 3 different areas: telecom, utility, shipping, and freight. What I typically do is, I end up going through this whole song and dance and presentation to my clients or prospects, and the first thing they ask me at the end of all this, which I would think is, where do we sign? How do we send the contract? How do we get to this? But the overwhelming question, which you're probably all asking if you don't know, is what the hell is Collar Bandit? So I'll tell you now so you can stop wondering, and then we can get to the real business. It's a dog. It's a family dog. He had a red collar. His name was Bandit. And so if we went with the other dog that my kids liked, it would be called Blue Collar Bandit. But we're Collar Bandit. So now you can stop wondering. Mike, I know you were wondering. So anyway, what we do is we look at telecom, utility, and shipping and freight. Starting with telecom. Telecom services are, it's a big part of people's budget. It's very hard to manage. It's very hard to understand. The bills are very complicated. They're made so, I think, on purpose. And as Gartner research will tell you, 80% of all telecom bills are erroneous. My experience in our research is, has really been close to 95% of all telecom bills are erroneous. Either the rates on them are wrong, taxes and surcharges are wrong, they're incongruent with the contract that you signed, they have services on there that you don't need or that you used to have. I mean, I could tell you war stories from all the clients you see here at the end that we do business with. People have services, they have bills that stack this big, if they're still getting paper bills, which a lot of people still do. And in that contract or in that invoice is buried charges that for an office you might have closed down years ago. And trust me, we see it every time we do an audit. You have a T1, you have POTS lines, you have all these services running to an office in Arizona. Well, we canceled that off. We shut that office down 3 years ago. Well, you've been paying for the bills for 3 years. Happens all the time, I kid you not. We had another one, a big company up in Crestwood Industrial Park, 150-year-old company, great company. And they had signed a contract with, I won't mention carrier, but signed a contract with the carrier, and from day one, their invoice was off by $1,000 a month. No one caught it. It was buried in taxes and surcharges and everything else, but we went back and fought for them, and we got the $1,000 a month changed off, and we got them credited all the way back. But it happens every day. I can't tell you how many times we find it and how much money we save, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the companies we do work for. And our team is very versed. I've been in the telecom industry for a number of years. Our team of analysts have been in the business for years, as well as shipping, freight, utilities. All are marred in nuances and acronyms and big bills, and it's very hard to decipher. So we need our clients to focus on their core competencies and let us focus on these areas. And so a lot of things we do, we have 2 kinds of services on the audit side and the telecom side. We do an audit, we come in, we clean you up, we give you a database, we tell you what you're paying for, why you're paying for it, who's your account rep, who do you call for repair, what's your online portal login. We give you all that information, including down to every dollar, what you're spending, what it's being spent on. We even break out taxes and surcharges versus your actual service. So you get full accountability and visibility when we're done. And we also then go into managed services. Managed services, many times, I'd say half of our clients, after we clean them up, say, stick around and continue to manage the database that you just created for us. And then we do everything from provisioning, moves, adds, changes, contract negotiation. If they have offices, shutdowns, or turns up, we become their telecom department. So for a small fraction of actually hiring a telecom professional, they pay us, and we manage it for them. And so that's kind of the second half. We do the audit, clean you up, or we come in and we can do the managed services. On the audit side, it's contingency based, so there's no risk. So that's what we tell people. Let us come in. There's no cost if we don't find anything. If we don't find anything, we're still going to give you a database. We're still going to catalog everything you have, where you have it, what you're paying, how much, and you walk away with that for free. If we can't save you any money, there's no charge. If we do save you money, we just share in the savings. So whatever we save you the first couple months, we take that. That's our fee. So we pay for ourselves, So we're budget friendly, there's no incremental cost for our service, so it makes it an easy sell. I would say 99% of the business we close, if we get in front of somebody, we close the business simply because it's a no-brainer, it's a slam dunk. It's really just getting in front of somebody and explaining how simple the program is and that there's no risk. We all are in sales, we all know that the sales blinders go up, even if you've got the greatest product in the world, they don't want to hear it unless you get into them, you get a referral, you get somebody who's trusted. So that's what most of our business now comes from, our referral partners, which is a lot of our clients. Our clients will refer us to someone else who they want to give them the advantage of saving money. We appreciate that, and that's where a lot of our business comes from. But again, keep that in mind. I mean, telecom bills, 80 to 90% are erroneous. Utility audit, utilities have become deregulated in the past few years, so your utility bills such as gas and electric, it doesn't apply to propane or water or sewer. But a number of states, the majority of the states have deregulated their utilities. So gas and electric has now become competitive. You can shop it. And again, it's opened up a very unscrupulous market. Some of you business owners or people on the purchasing side understand that you get called 100 times a day by people trying to sell you electricity. And they're trying to sell it to you at the highest profit available to them so that they make their money. We look at it from a different perspective. We come in and try to save you money. We don't make any money unless you save you money. So we're going to get you the best rates. So we do a lot of volume. We deal with 20, 30 suppliers. We shop that business for you. And we only, again, get paid if we're saving you money. So our interest is in saving you money, not just selling you a couple cents per kilowatt less than what you're paying now, when those folks still have a lot of margin left on that they're keeping for themselves. We're working for our clients' best interest. Parcel and freight, same thing. It becomes very difficult to ascertain what's going on in the bills. It's difficult for a reason. As you can see, I'm not going to go through every one of these, but there's a lot of things to look at. And so our data analysts look at all these areas, and we find the savings in there. And same thing as it's contingency based. So it doesn't cost you anything to let us look at your invoices. It doesn't even cost you anything. We don't even require, we do something a little bit different in this audit industry. A lot of folks come in if they audit you, and if they make recommendations, you're to either employ those recommendations or you pay for them anyway. With Red Collar Bandit, we don't do that. We make this very simple. If you don't like the recommendation to save money, we'll tell you what the recommendation is and how much money it's going to save you. And if you don't want to employ it, don't employ it. And we're not going to charge you for it. It's just free advice. What we try to do is eliminate people taking our advice, go ahead and we leave and they go and employ all the changes we ask them to make. We just ask if you say we're not going to employ that change, why? Give me a good, valid reason why. We'll walk away. So we try to make it very cordial. We try to make it very friendly when we deal with our clients, and we let them make the decisions. We'll just show them, we'll offer them advice, and if they want to take the advice, great. And then we both profit from it. Why is Red Collar Bandit the right choice? We've been doing this for a long time. Our analysts have over 20 years of building, maintaining, provisioning America's largest companies. I myself was the CEO of a publicly traded company. I know where the bodies are buried. I know where the telecom companies hide their profitability. I know when your sales rep comes out and tells you he's got the best rate. It's not always true, except for Tom. Tom is very honest. I like that with Tom. Again, we're risk-free, so it's contingency-based, so there's no risk to talk to us. Shouldn't be afraid of us. Although, Tom, you don't realize it, but a lot of telecom companies are afraid when they hear Red Collar Bandit's involved. They don't really care for us too much because they know we're going to fight for the best rates possible. And we see all the rates. So we see everybody. We see all these companies. We've worked for the companies. We know what the bottom rates are. We know what kind of volume you're doing. We know what you should be paying. So we have the answers to what you don't. We have a 100% track record of reducing our clients' operating expense. We have not gone into a single client yet and not been able to reduce their expense. And again, no savings, no charge. Can't beat that. So what it means to our clients, on average, a 25% reduction on telecom, utilities, and shipping, sometimes more, sometimes less. Accountability and visibility, you have accurate payments, less collection issues, less billing errors, no reconciliation, and it's an increased efficiency for your folks to do, what they're employed to do. Let them focus on their core competencies. So this is just, the past year or so, a lot of well-known clients on here that we do business for. We refer well, like I said, if you're looking for ways to have your prospective clients pay for your service, give us a referral. We have a referral program too. We pay out on referrals, and we also can help clients find money for their other services. So I know there's some financial advisors in here today. If you want to give some financial advice to your clients who own businesses, There's folks like us and some of the other folks that you heard here today that can save your clients money. Ours, again, is a risk-free proposition. Our verticals are everything. You see, we do work for like EOTC, Children's Service Center, United Way, nonprofits, right up to much bigger companies like Guard Insurance across the street here. Cadence Technology is a big publicly traded company, Chantel Communications. So we do large and small. We do all over the country. It doesn't matter. We're willing to help out any company who's overspending. So we're here to help, and it's free advice. And I'd suggest anybody looking to save money or reduce operating expense or find money for your prospects, come to Red Collar Bandit. Thank you.
Great job. Red Collar Bandit. Okay. Be patient for just a couple more minutes. We're going to get questions. Do we have one Facebook question, or we have more? Yeah. Okay. Who we got? Who you on? Let's do. Be patient. 5 minutes. What do you got? And for who?
We have Lisa. It says, how can my company benefit from managed services for our technology?
Is that directed to somebody?
No, it's
That's a lengthy conversation. That's our entire sales presentation, how you benefit from managed services. I think real short answer is I think one of the most attractive things about managed services is that it's predictable and budgetable. We come in, we do an assessment, we figure out where your needs are, and we assess a flat monthly fee, usually for like a 3 or 4 year engagement. So now you can plan what your IT costs for the next 4 years. It's one of the biggest frustrations in a lot of our customers. It's just, all of a sudden, I didn't think I was going to spend that money. Something happens. Now I have a big IT cost in my second quarter, blows my, my quarterly revenue out of the water. And we can really kind of help streamline that, control that, and manage it for you. So
Get a more detailed answer. Tech 42.
another question.
What do we got for Mike?
How difficult is it to upgrade to Windows 10?
how difficult is it? Difficulty is relative to your experience and your knowledge. So for my guys, it's quite easy typically. If you have not done a Windows 10 upgrade, and as Windows upgrades go, it's pretty straightforward. I'd recommend if you're doing a Windows 10 upgrade, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Computer prices are such that you're probably much better off in doing just a direct replacement and buying a new PC rather than trying to keep life in old technology that's slowing down relative to new technology every year.
Excellent. What else we got?
And then the last question, Teresa, with all these businesses work together to provide the best possible solution. I guess meaning Red Collar Bandit, Top, Barre, and
So say it again.
does all these businesses work together to provide the best possible solution?
Yeah, I guess the answer is yes. Guess maybe I'm missing that. Yes, the answer is yes. Best possible solution. So well, there was great advice today, great ideas. Hopefully you wrote down some questions. Does anybody have any questions for anybody? Al, Michael, whatever, they're going to be here. All the vendors are going to be here for a few more minutes after, right? If you don't have any questions right now, stop and see them on the way out. And David, you have a last wrap up that you want to say.
I just want to thank the Wilkes-Barre Chamber, Lindsay and Ahmad for allowing us to use this space. Think Center folks for allowing us to come in here every once in a while. Make sure that we're providing the best possible information to businesses, users out there. And like Marty said, if you guys have any questions, we're here, we're available, all our websites, online, social media. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for the support, and hopefully we can do this again next year.
Thank you.